Hello and welcome to CTV News Across Canada for Tuesday, June 10th. We've got the top local stories from coast to coast, stories that affect you and the country. Thanks for joining us.
This witness video showing the heated physical altercation early Sunday morning between a Smiths Falls police officer and Rebecca McNaughton. She was handcuffed at the time, and now her family is asking why the situation was not handled differently.
We are horrified, sickened, and heartbroken. This video is inexcusable. We aren't debating whether or not she should have been arrested, but nobody deserves to be treated with such retaliatory violence.
You think it's okay because you have a badge?
Black says since the arrest, her family has had a difficult time getting information from Smiths Falls Police about where she is and whether she's received any medical care.
We're just trying to navigate a very difficult system, and we received quite a bit of pushback, some really rude interactions with police, and I think that's needless.
You excuse for man.
McNaughton's family says she has a history of mental health and addiction issues, and they have tried desperately for years to get her help.
She's a vulnerable person, and I think the key part there is she's a person, independently of whether or not she is a sister or a daughter or a friend, of which she is all three. She is a person.
The Smiths Falls Police Service issuing a statement on Monday saying they responded to 2 calls. First for a reported assault at a home, and later for a disturbance at a business where a woman allegedly threw a table. After she was arrested and placed in the cruiser, police say, quote, the female is alleged to have repeatedly spit and kicked through the open portion of the plexiglass divider, where an officer then intervened. The witness who took this video says the officer's demeanor seemed to have changed as soon as he realized someone was recording the incident.
He definitely went from more irritated and frustrated, and then as soon as he kind of realized that I was videoing, he kind of went like, oh, like, you didn't see that type thing.
Smiths Falls Police Chief Jody Empey says the 2 officers involved have been placed on administrative duties. As McNaughton's family and the community wait for answers, an outside police service is now taking over the investigation.
Well, the public need to know what happened and why, because there's a lot of rumors going around out there based on that limited video we've seen that will cause public concern. So the chief needs to quell that by saying it's under control. We've investigated it. Here's the action we've taken.
Again, the police chief also says that an outside police service is now being called in to conduct that investigation to avoid any institutional conflict. But right now, it's not clear exactly which police service will be leading that effort.
It's an unimaginable experience. 31-year-old Gabriella Pate says she was falsely diagnosed with cancer.
I'm absolutely traumatized. I feel like I'm still in a dream right now.
It all started back on May 17th. Pate says she had just finished celebrating after being told by her doctor that results from the IWK, a Halifax Women's Health Center, showed a lump in her breast was non-cancerous. But that celebration was short-lived.
Just this last Wednesday at 7 p.m., I get a call from my primary care physician that the IWK had made a mistake, and I actually did have metastatic carcinoma, which is a very grim diagnosis. It's the same breast cancer my mother died of.
Pate started making phone calls of her own to family, friends, and her workplace, telling them of her diagnosis. That was until last Friday, when she says she got another call from her doctor telling her there had been a mix-up at the IWK and that she did not have cancer.
She actually went and looked through all the slides and all the reporting herself and determined that my file had been mixed up with someone else's. So now my thought is there's this poor woman that's walking around that was, given, hope that she didn't have breast cancer, and she doesn't. She has one of the most aggressive breast cancers that's out there.
CTV News reached out to the IWK for comment. In an email, a spokesperson says due to patient privacy, they cannot comment on specific cases, but they do take concerns of this nature seriously, and a formal investigation will follow.
To not even call someone, like, I'm a person, I'm a human being, I'm not a number in a computer system. To not even call and say, we are so sorry for what has happened here is just absolutely unimaginable to me.
Left with more questions than answers, Pate intends to take legal action.
Somebody has to be accountable. Someone has to say, we're so sorry that this happened, but more importantly, what are we going to do going forward so this doesn't happen to anybody else?
Vanessa Wright, CTV News, Lower Sackville, Nova Scotia.
David Humphrey, the defense lawyer for one of the accused, Michael Mcleod, wasted little time in telling the court that consent is at the crux of this lurid sexual assault case. He said consent was given by the female, claiming that she was the aggressor, asking for sex from the players who gathered in room 209 at the Delta Armories Hotel in downtown London in June of 2018. He said the complainant's words or actions before and during the sexual interactions can raise a doubt about her claim that she did not subjectively consent. Humphrey said Mcleod even recorded her consent on his phone, adding he decided to take that brief video with her. It is critical evidence showing that she was happy and fine. That video captured her actions and her mood. And when it came to the issue of Mcleod calling his friends into his hotel room, Humphrey argued, it's my submission that the female was well aware that Mr. Mcleod was inviting some teammates to room 209 because it was done at her request or suggestion. Humphrey said when the female complainant testified, she didn't agree, but he added that she could have left at any time. She didn't leave. She chose to stay, awaiting the arrival of some of his teammates. The trial stems from allegations that a group of men sexually assaulted a lone female at the Delta Armories Hotel. The 5 accused, which include Mcleod, Cal Foote, Carter Hart, Alex Formanton, and Dylan Dubé, have all pled not guilty. The players had been in London in June of 2018, attending a Hockey Canada gala to commemorate their gold medal win earlier that year. Because the defense lawyers called evidence in this case, they're giving their closing arguments first. After that, it will be followed by Crown Attorney Megan Cunningham. Later in the day, Megan Savard, the lawyer for Hart, started her closing. Hart was the only accused to testify in this case, and Savard told Justice Maria Caracia to accept his evidence as truthful, saying he obtained unequivocal communicated consent to the sexual activity. It was genuine, enthusiastic, and effectively communicated. The closing arguments from the defense resume on Tuesday. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
Tony, police say they are investigating after being called to this plaza at Blockline Road and Homer Watson Boulevard Friday afternoon. Now, students I spoke to earlier today say the fight involved one St. Mary's student and many others from another school in the region. Meanwhile, nearby neighboring business owners that I spoke to tell me that they didn't pay particular attention to Friday's fight because it tends to be a common occurrence. And just a warning, the video may be disturbing to some of our viewers. This is the video making its way from phone to phone of students at St. Mary's High School. A St. Mary's student repeatedly kicked and punched by a swarm of people as dozens of bystanders watch and record. The fight took place next to the Kitchener School at a nearby plaza. Waterloo Regional Police confirm it happened Friday afternoon around 3:30. They're investigating a disturbance involving a large group. I spoke off camera with a teen who identified himself as the victim in the video. He told me the fight stemmed from another fight that took place in this same plaza between himself and a group of students from another school in the area. A spokesperson from the Waterloo Catholic District School Board say they are aware of the fight. They add, quote, "Our review has found that most of those involved are not affiliated with St. Mary's. The involvement of any identified students has been addressed at the school level," unquote. A man who students say was a customer nearby came to the teen's aid. After speaking with students and even some parents that were in the plaza Monday afternoon, they tell CTV News fights are very common in the area during lunch hours. One parent says she's desperate for a resolution. She says despite attempts to warn St. Mary's principal about students fighting, she was told nothing can be done since the fights aren't happening on school property. Other business owners who chose not to speak on camera say they heard a commotion on Friday but didn't think anything of it, as swarms of rowdy students can be seen on a daily basis. The plaza is monitored by a security company who told CTV News they were not aware of a fight that day on the property. Even while I was here earlier today, a large group of students once again gathering in the area, and police are asking anyone for video or information as they continue to investigate. Tony.
Okay, Karis, thank you for that. CTV's Karis Mapp reporting live in Kitchener for us.
Many communities across Saskatchewan continue to feel the impacts of the wildfires as evacuation orders are in place throughout the province.
You know, the leadership will work with their incident command team to look at a threat. Was it changing? Is it increasing? Is it decreasing? And based on that, they'll make a decision on whether they think their community is going to be better off to evacuate or to continue to stay and be on alert.
33 communities are under various kinds of evacuation orders. Candle Lake is one of several areas currently under a voluntary evacuation.
By voluntarily evacuating, it means there's less people that we have to be concerned about, less people that we have to provide services to, and more time for us to be able to deal with the things like we're doing right now.
While the area did see some rain over the weekend, the threat of fire moving closer is still present. And Lutz says the crew in the community are taking this time to be proactive.
Literally going house to house where nobody's the resident there right now, and identifying how we can make their yard safer in advance of a possible fire entering the village.
Meanwhile, the town of Creighton says crews are still monitoring the flames and mandatory evacuation orders remain in place. But there is some good news among the uncertainty. Evacuees from Pelican Narrows are able to return home as of Sunday night. This update from Peter Ballantyne Cree Nation, which took to social media to share that the road from Smeaton to Pelican Narrows has reopened.
We want to make sure that the critical infrastructure like water and sewer are in place, and certainly when people return home, we want to make sure that they're returning to communities where they have the services that they need, where they can receive groceries and things like that.
While individuals are free to travel home, those with health conditions are advised to hold off on their return due to poor air quality and reduced medical services. Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
But I'm concerned that the standard of care is slipping.
Dr. Caitlin Stockton has worked the front lines of emergency medicine at Fraser Health for nearly 8 years, treating patients in the ERs at both Eagle Ridge and Royal Columbian hospitals.
I really truly believe that things have to change. I believe that the public deserves to know what's happening in their publicly funded hospitals. And I believe that healthcare providers have a right to a safe and respectful work environment.
Stockton has filed a lawsuit against Fraser Health outlining allegations of safety concerns, bullying, and harassment. She cites an example where a patient in the Eagle Ridge ER threatened staff with a machete, and another where a doctor was bitten by a patient's pit bull.
Ensuring a safe work environment where we are not threatened with weapons and violent dogs, vicious dogs, is not very hard to achieve.
The statement of claim also alleges Fraser Health administrators threatened Dr. Stockton's hospital privileges over a sign placed in the Eagle Ridge ER encouraging patients to contact their MLA if they had concerns about hospital conditions.
I think that the public knows by now that we're dealing with a really dangerous and serious situation. To see an emergency room doctor literally putting their career on the line to better our healthcare system, she should be applauded, not punished.
Citing the ongoing litigation, Health Minister Josie Osborne and Fraser Health declined to comment on the specifics detailed in the lawsuit.
Either they don't know what's going on in their own hospitals, which they really should, or they do know and they're fearful of admitting the truth because it implies that they're not really doing a good job.
None of the allegations in the lawsuit have been tested in court. Ben Milger, CTV News, Vancouver.
Using the Gardiner Expressway to drive across Toronto is taking more time.
Well, it's terrible. That's why I'm glad I don't have to take it every day.
Crazy. I live in beaches. I work in airport. It took me every day 1 hour, which should take 20 minutes.
New data from analytics firm Altitude by Geotab is showing how much. By looking at times before March 2024 construction on the section near Liberty Village and in the first 3 weeks since the start of this year's April construction near the Queensway. Before, it took drivers 23 minutes to travel east across the Gardiner and 25 minutes to go west. Now it's almost double, taking 40 minutes to travel east and 38 minutes to go west. Some wait times are longer in certain sections over others. Traveling from the Humber River to Strawn Avenue before construction used to take 8 minutes. then 20 minutes, and now 24 minutes. While traveling from Jarvis Street to Dufferin Street used to take 11 minutes before, climbing to 25 minutes, now 30 minutes. The worst is between Colborne Lodge Drive to just past Jameson Avenue, where travel times have increased 230%. Last summer, the province put in millions to speed up construction time by a year. Still, all the waiting is having an impact, says the firm, doubling the delay for commuters, causing business interruptions, work-related stress, and productivity loss. Commuters coming off the Gardiner want officials to do better.
I think there's not much they can do because it's been 2 decades of neglect, criminal negligence in regards to government.
I think the infrastructure needs to be looked at just to create the right type of roadways.
I think we need more public transit.
Use the money, taxpayers' money, to better the traffic in a better way. Because this is horrible. We can't wait like this. This is too long.
So the trip can take less time. Some possible good news for commuters. Back in March of last year, when this firm looked at travel times around that first construction area, they analyzed the first 3 weeks of that construction, and that was when times were higher. They found after the first 3 weeks, it dropped by about 5 minutes. So this data is showing the first 3 weeks of this new April construction, so we'll have to see if there's improvement. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonnell. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Beth.
After a busy day serving food in the storefront and at the food truck all day Saturday, someone broke into Damascus Shawarma.
Saturday, I'm start 5 o'clock. I finish 1:15 in the morning. Just I think he follow me and follow employee too. After 15 minutes, I am closed, he coming.
The family, who immigrated to Canada from Syria 10 years ago, says this is the 4th break-in since the restaurant opened in 2018.
It's very frustrating. We work so hard for somebody that just comes and steals it like that, where we have a lot of people that we're responsible for. They depend on us. For anybody, like, this is just a message. If you need, please just come and ask us. Don't steal, because that's never a good thing.
The culprit damaged the back door and took roughly $500. Surveillance cameras did capture the culprit, but not their face. Greater Sudbury Police confirm its investigation is ongoing, adding 3 other break-ins in the area were reported over the past few months. According to the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, the number of small businesses affected by crime almost doubled in the last year, with vandalism, theft, and litter the most common issues. Its director saying, "Imagine working hard, providing jobs, contributing to the community, just to have your goods stolen, windows broken, and property vandalized. For small businesses, it's devastating when they're hit by crime over and over again." The Carcous family says since posting about the break-in on social media, they've experienced a positive response from the community. They add they're not letting the recent challenge deter them from giving up on either the business or Sudbury just yet.
Thank you, everyone. This is my favor, my friend, and thank you, everyone, from my heart.
Angela Gemmell, CTV News, Sudbury.
During morning rush hour, instead of fueling up buses or doing metro maintenance, these workers were on the streets.
We told them we were open to do negotiation 24 hours a day for 7 days, and they said to us, "See you next week." That's the answer of the employer.
2,400 STM mechanics are striking, arguing there's a problem attracting new employees, and they want pay raises of 25% over 5 years. They also say they want to keep their current schedules, even though the STM argues it operates 24 hours a day and needs employees on all shifts. The transit agency is encouraging riders to buy their tickets early, especially visitors.
We have all the personnel in place to direct people, inform people, because as we know, there's a lot of tourists that will be in town.
Outside morning and afternoon rush hours, metro stations were closed, leaving these midday commuters stranded. The mechanics are set to strike for 9 days and add they've been in talks with the union that represents bus drivers and metro operators. That group also voted in favor of a strike, but hasn't announced if or when they might be off the job. Earlier this year, the STM denounced getting $258 million less in the Quebec budget. And on the provincial financing point, the union agrees.
It's one thing we agree with STM. It's that we have to put more money. We have to invest in our transport. Mrs. Guilbeault, instead to spend some money on survey to put some pavement between Lévis and Quebec City, they should invest on our transport.
But with little consensus otherwise, workers are set to be off the job again tomorrow. Kelly Gregg, CTV News.
Students are out for the day, but will soon be out for summer. And that comes with a warning from Alberta's Chief Medical Officer of Health. A letter sent by the Calgary Board of Education on behalf of Dr. Sunil Sukram encourages parents to vaccinate their kids, saying the risk of measles is at the highest it has been in the province in 25 years.
It's a little scary, of course, and definitely something to be concerned about.
Yes, I received enough for the school, so I've already signed mine for the kids to take the shots.
There are now 809 confirmed cases of measles in Alberta. The last time we climbed over 800 cases a year was in 1986, and experts suggest we'll soon surpass that historic peak.
We are now seeing numbers that are the worst numbers of infections in 39 years. And we're really only 100 or so cases away from the worst number of cases since the 1970s when vaccines were introduced.
As the case counts climb, so do the number of people needing care, with 5 people currently in hospital, including 2 in the ICU.
It is disheartening when you see a patient come in struggling to breathe, needing oxygen, becoming confused with the effects of the brain inflammation.
The majority of cases are in the South Zone, but a pediatrician at Calgary's Alberta's Children's Hospital has started treating more severe cases from the region over the last month.
It just adds to an already burdened healthcare system.
The province is highlighting its Don't Get Measles, Get Immunized campaign and says it will assess whether more awareness is needed. But critics question, why the wait?
The assumption if you live in the South Zone is that you are at risk of exposure. We shouldn't be waiting for that to be true in the rest of the province before taking more action. We should be seeing a robust public health response, and we're not seeing that.
With the upcoming travel season and big events like the Calgary Stampede a month out, experts predict the highly contagious disease will remain a growing problem for the foreseeable future.
I think we can anticipate measles being here well into the fall, and if not winter in Alberta.
With the help of an interpreter, this migrant worker from Mexico agreed to speak with CTV News anonymously. She is worried about being disciplined by her employer.
We don't have any trust with employers, so we don't ask these type of questions.
Questions about the types of pesticides she and other migrants are handling on a daily basis.
If we are exposed to it and we are poisoned, we don't know what to do about it.
She joined dozens of other agricultural workers on Sunday to hear about a lawsuit filed against Health Canada. The United Food and Commercial Workers Canada wants the courts to intervene and force employers to make safety data sheets available to workers. Advocates say the long-term side effects of pesticide exposure can be dangerous.
Short-term impacts like burning eyes and dizziness, but they also can have long-term impacts like various types of cancer, Parkinson's disease, liver cirrhosis.
At the heart of the issue are these data safety sheets, which outline what a product is, the hazards of exposure, and proper handling and storage. The union believes they should be mandatory in every workplace. According to the court filing, Health Canada has told employers providing SDSs is voluntary and employers can use product labels instead. The union disagrees.
They got rashes and lesions on their hand, and when asked about from the employer about what was in the container that they were spraying on the crops, was told it was mineral water.
But the Canadian Centre for Occupational Health and Safety indicates SDSs are mandatory in workplaces with hazardous materials. Health Canada declined to comment as the matter is before the courts.